Welcome back to another video, guys. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the biggest capital drivers of markets in Australia in 2026. There are always a couple of key factors to actually look at when looking to invest into certain markets. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff of days on market and stock on market, because those micrometrics are used to assess small micro movements in a market before they're about to take off. But what about assessing the underlying fundamentals of certain metrics that help you determine which markets have strong possibilities of growth in the future, even before it starts to become a hot market? And now, the first metric I want to talk about is affordability. When I started this YouTube channel, when I was looking at places to invest into, 12 to 18 months ago, one of the key metrics that I was looking at was affordability. And that led me to different locations all throughout Australia, including the likes of Albury and Wodonga, and including markets like Bendigo, Mildura, and more. Because while everyone was focusing on regional Queensland up north, a lot of the markets that were quiet in New South Wales, like Dubbo, Albury, Bendigo, these were all very, very affordable. And when you start to look at these market metrics, like for example, if you look at the LGA of Albury, you can see the affordability of this location is very, very good. It sits under 35 years for the LGA of Albury. Now, of course, the suburb to suburb nuance might be a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower. But overall, the Albury's affordability has been very low, under 35 years, which is a core metric we look at when assessing which suburbs to invest into. And it wasn't just the likes of Albury. When you look at Bendigo, for example, and you start to scroll down, you can see that the affordability has been very good. You can see since 2024, late 2024, it has been around the 30-year price point. And now, as prices have started to increase, we've seen a little bit of uplift or lack of affordability in Bendigo, but it's still very affordable under 35 years, closer to that 30-year mark. And what affordability means is that local investors can afford the property prices in this market. So even when prices move faster than wages, this means if locals can afford it, first home buyers can afford it, owner occupiers can buy it, which means that people will look to purchase homes in this area when it is comfortable for them to without being stretched, which is a very, very attractive nuance for investors out there. And usually this capital will flow into markets which people can afford. Now, that doesn't mean you go and buy in some small dingy town in the middle of nowhere in Australia just because it is affordable. But when you're talking about larger cities like Bendigo, like the Alburys, like Dubbos, where it is affordable for local residents and it's got a decent population size, good economy, that is a good indicator for us as an investor that this market could take off in the near future. And don't worry, there are more metrics that I want to show you guys. But before I do jump into them, if you haven't already and you don't know, I do have the Property Blueprint Education Program where I have over 8 modules, 60 plus videos, and hours of content for you guys to listen, learn, and understand about property investment and making your journey smoother and smarter. And not only that, you get access to the private community as well for a month, which is an absolute bargain. All you have to pay is $3.49 and you get saved $35 straight off the bat, where you'll get private mentorship by me, access to other community members, deal reviews, suburb strategy calls, and real life tutorials on how to help you choose the right place to invest into and the type of properties to invest into. And you guys can go and read every single video in the education curriculum that goes through every single nuance, right? So you know exactly what you are paying for. And when you break it down by cost per video, it is an absolute steal, guys, right? So don't wait any longer. If you are struggling to invest into and you want to educate yourself, make yourself a better investor, pay this one time, you have it for a lifetime. And by the way, you'll always need to invest into property even down the track, even 10 years from now. So having this education in your back pocket is the smartest thing you could do for yourself. Now let's get back into the video. Now, the next major indicator or capital driver of whether a market is set to explode is its underlying economy. And I know this may seem obvious, but it's not just about the economic diversity of that location. Economic diversity talks to the safety and stability of a location. If it's a mining town, for example, it is more volatile and hence riskier to invest in long term. If it's economically diversified, which means it's more likely to be a stable market, people will have opportunities for different jobs. They will likely stay in this location, thereby upholding the prices in that region. But what's really important is the other economic drivers of that location. We want to see its GRP increasing year on year, which means it's producing more goods, there's more jobs available for the market that's producing more economic output, hence requiring more people. And when you have more people, you need more homes for people to actually live in, right? And then what usually drives that will be the infrastructure projects happening in that region. Is it getting a new hospital? Are there defense projects happening? Are there new schools being built? Things like that continue to drive the economy apart from its normal economic output. And that is critical to when you look at places to invest, right? Now, this doesn't mean that just because a location doesn't have huge projects happening, doesn't mean it will grow in value. However, locations that are pumping in new projects, money is being invested into it, its GRP is increasing and people have jobs there, it has a much stronger probability that we will see house prices continue to increase in that area, because with more people, you need more houses. That comes back to the supply and demand equation of it. So the economic profile of a location is important and a key economic driver. You can use different websites like Remplan to go and assess its overall GRP, its population growth, as well as its industry breakdown, right? And this is Townsville is a great example where from 2021 it had an economic boom and it had more defense projects, more infrastructure projects all throughout Townsville and other parts of regional Queensland, and hence that started to lead the boom. Now, of course, there are other drivers like very low prices and high yields, but without a strong economy, people wouldn't bat an eye to it. Now, that is another big driver of capital in markets. Now, before I jump into the next one, I'm going to base it off sort of Bendigo and Albury, and the next one is actually the rental market. And the rental market can be broken down into a couple of key categories, which is yields and vacancy rate. Those two are one of the strongest indicators of future potential capital growth, and there's a multitude of reasons. And let's start off with yield. Now, for the past couple of years before Victoria really started to take off, it went through a huge stagnant phase where rents were actually rising but house prices were not really growing. And you can see that from about 2022 onwards, where it had this sort of steep up curve. Now, this is important because house prices weren't growing but rents were rising, and that means yield was rising. And when yields are rising, it becomes very interesting to me and to others as investors, because when you have a higher yield, which means less out-of-pocket cost, means the property can pay itself off sooner rather than later. And what that does is that actually brings in more investors into the market. And when you have more investors into the market, that equates to buyers, and they start chewing up the stock, and there's less stock available. Hence, you start to see prices start to uplift a little bit, right? And here's the other conundrum when you have higher yields and rising rents, right? When you have rising rents, but the prices of the actual houses itself aren't rising, you then get a whole bunch of first home buyers and owner occupiers in the area looking at their rental statement and then understanding that they could actually afford the mortgage repayment and the additional costs of it. And when they start to see that happen, they start to think to themselves in their mind, hey, if I'm paying a rent that is equal or more than the mortgage repayment, I might as well just go and buy that house myself and take another rental listing off the market. And then you get this whole big chain effect of renters becoming first home buyers, renters becoming owner occupiers, which takes off more stock off the market, takes off more rental listings off the market. Hence, you get stronger rental pressures, rents start rising a little bit more investors come, and this whole big loop and chain effect starts to happen. Now, you're not going to see many investors buying at 2 to 3%, but when anything's above 4%, it becomes very, very attractive for most investors out there, right? And this actually flows into very nicely into our next one, which is vacancy rates, right? Because with a very low vacancy rate, that actually flows into the narrative of when you have low vacancy rate, that means there's less rental properties available, which makes it easier to raise rents, which then once again flows into the effect of, whoa, I can now afford the mortgage repayment rather than paying rent. You get more owner occupier buying, etc. And you can actually see this start to happen in late 2024 when the market was very stagnant for a period of time in New South Wales. You can see that vacancy rates actually fell. It fell all throughout 2024. It was stagnant from 2023 to about 2024, started falling, and in 2025, that's when the market really started to pick up, and then you get more investors buying into the market and sort of see a sharp uptick in vacancy rates, right? And you can cross-reference this with the gross yield as well. And this is a really important distinction to understand, is that a combination of a strong rental market of yield, vacancy rate, rental pressure, and rental increases actually is a strong indicator of when markets are primed for growth, because not everyone wants to be paying rent forever when it's cheaper to just buy a house and afford the mortgage repayment than pay rent itself. That actually sums up the capital drivers of property markets and trying to predict them before they boom. And I want to summarize for you because education is extremely important when it comes to property investment, right? There's a couple of things that I mentioned. One was affordability. Affordable markets means owner occupiers and renters can actually look to afford and buy a property in that area, which turns renters to owner occupiers. Then we have economic growth. When you have strong infrastructure projects, a strong economic background, a stability in that economy, it's going to drive more people to that area. Hence, more people need houses, and then you get less supply in that market, especially when building approvals don't match the amount of people coming into that location. And then the last one is the rental market pressure of yield, vacancy rate, rental pressure, and rental increases. When rents start to rise and vacancies are very tight, people will move from being a renter to an owner occupier, taking rental stock and supply stock off the market, putting pressure on the market. Investors see the high yields, they're attracted by it, they come into the market, and we get this whole loop and chain effect, and prices start to increase, right? And that's why you can almost predict before it even happened, places like Albury-Wodonga, Dubbo, Bendigo, Shepparton, Ballarat, these markets had those prime effects of affordability, rental market pressure, low vacancy rates, and it started to rise in value. Now that we have more investors in the market, we see the opposite happening. We see stock coming off the market, so we get capital growth happening, but we also see the chain effect of more rental listings coming on the market. And we see that in locations like Melton, right? We see a lot more investors coming to the market in Melton. We're starting to see rental listings rise, which means more vacancies, which might slow down the market in a period of time or so. We see that in Werribee, and we're seeing that in other parts of Melbourne CBD. However, the point still stands of those three economic drivers, 3 to 4 economic drivers. Those are key indicators that will tell us that a market is about to or set to grow. Maybe not in 12 months, may happen in 6 months, may happen in 12 to 18 months, but it is going to grow. It's just a matter of time because there's only so many rental rises people can take, and there's only so long that a market can remain affordable when we live in the best country in the world. But if you want more education like that and more, jump into the Property Education Blueprint program. It is a steal for the amount of money you pay, guys. You guys would be foolish not to. And it's 2026. Jump on the bandwagon, get the education you need so you can turn confusion into clarity and you can understand how to invest into property, what to invest into, and when to invest into certain types of assets. If you have any questions at all, put it down in the comments below. Jump in the private community, jump into the course, and help yourself in your journey. Till next time, thank you very much.